Hello and welcome to the composition element for the Grade 6 VCM exam board. Now if you're considering composing for the Grade 6, it's quite an interesting task that you have to do, which is to design a theme and variations. So the element starts on page 29 of the book, okay, and then it tells you here the criteria, which says that your composition should be in variation form, should have the theme to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star as a theme, so you can actually choose this as your theme, or you can choose another theme of your own, another nursery rhyme or something else, or your own tune. It doesn't matter, but you use either this or an alternative as your main theme. It should have balanced phrases, and it needs to move to at least 2 related keys. So when we talk about related keys, we're talking about a tonic to dominant relationship, or tonic to subdominant relationship, or it might be going to the relative minor or the tonic minor. So all these are what's called related keys. And more information about related keys can be found in the Theory Frenzy Grade 4 and Grade 5 books. So down here you've actually got the theme, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Now you can use that as your template to work from. You can copy that, just make sure you can play it, which most people can. And then over on this page here you get quite a few suggestions on different ways that you can make a variation from that theme. So the ideas that are suggested: you could use triplets, you could do like a swing rhythm, use a jazz rhythm to it. You could modulate to a different key. Major to minor is good, it's suggested. You could make use of ornaments. You could change the time signature. You could change the tempo. You could repeat the theme. And what we mean by that is if you got da 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 da, you could change it to da 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 da, repeating the same notes, putting more notes in. You can use what's called a sequence. Now what a sequence is, it's the same set of notes but just one note higher or one note lower. So if you did C, C, G, G, A, A, G, you might decide to transpose it up a tone and do D, D, A, B, B, A as an example. That's using a sequence. You can use what's called a side slip, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. You can invert the notes. You can use a technique called retrograde. Again, I will talk a little bit more about that. You can use the same pitch but different rhythms. You can augment the theme, and you could diminute the theme. So let's just go through all of these now, which are shown in the book. So the first idea is to put triplets in. So remember, a triplet means 3 notes squeezes into the time of 2. So a triplet that's shown here is a triplet on a crotchet. So if you look at the Twinkle Twinkle, you could do C, 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 G, G, and that's using triplets. And that will be enough to actually add a variation into the piece. So with the swing rhythm, you can play a piece of music using the swing rhythm by doing the quavers as joined quavers and then playing it with the swing rhythm, which is like a Humpty Dumpty rhythm. Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty. You don't need to actually write it as Humpty Dumpty, in other words writing it as a dotted quaver and a semi-quaver. But if you just put on your composition in the swing style as the title, then that could easily do to show the swing rhythm. But remember, it's always on paired quavers if you're going to use the swing rhythm. There's an example of how it will sound underneath there as well. So you could either write it as a swing rhythm or just write it in the swing style in your comments. Modulation means exactly that. You can modulate to a new key. So for example, in Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, you've got the key of C. So you could move up and move to the subdominant key, which is the key of F major, or you could move to the dominant key, which is the key of G major, or you could move to the relative minor, which is A minor, or equally you could do C minor. So if you choose to do that as a variation, you put your new key signature as part of your variation. Now, ornaments are a very good way of actually doing a variation on a piece. Many ornaments are shown in the Theory Frenzy Grade 5 book, and they're listed here. You've got your trill, your turn, a poggiatura, a cacciacatura, and also the mordant. All of those can be easily put in Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just to spice it up and make a nice variation on that. Now you could choose to double up, and maybe put ornaments and change the tempo at the same time. That's still fine. So remember, changing the tempo is always a good thing. Then repeating the theme. So you could do C, C, G, G, C, C, G, G, A, A, G, A, A, G. That's another way of making a good variation. Now I've described sequence already, where you go up or down a tone. So that's another one. So then we talk about the side slip. Now, one of the most common forms of variation is called the sequence. You repeat the original notes on the theme, starting at a different pitch. So this links in with the sequence. So if you do a side slip, you're just going down a tone or up a tone. Remember that a lot of pop songs actually do the side slip quite a bit, where they will repeat a chorus, say, and then just put it up a tone like that and do a side slip on it. So it's quite effective to use that technique. So inverting the notes is a very good technique. So an inversion starts on the same pitch but then goes in the opposite direction. So say, for example, on Twinkle Twinkle you've got C, C, G, G. If you invert the notes, you're going to do G, G, C, C. Another good way of actually doing a variation. Then you've got a technique called retrograde. Now retrograde's great because it means you just play the whole thing backwards. So you just compose the whole thing again, starting from here and playing it that way. That's retrograde. And then the same notes but different rhythms. So you could change the crotchets in Twinkle Twinkle to quavers. C, 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 G, 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 and there you're repeating the notes, causing another variation. You've got augmentation, where the pitch stays the same, but the notes are lengthened. So you could do, instead of 2 crotchets there, 2 minims. And then diminution is the other way, where you make the note shorter. So you could do it to quavers at the beginning there, or maybe semi-quavers if you want to be very brave with your playing. Always be aware that all the themes and variations that you choose, you do have to play it in the examination. So don't make it so difficult so that it's very difficult to play. Don't make life hard for yourself. And then you put it all down on a piece of paper, set it down by writing theme, then put variation 1, variation 2, variation 3, and so on. I recommend having a theme and maybe 3 or 4 variations. So don't overdo it, but just enough to make it a nice lengthy piece that's worthy for this examination. And that completes the grade 6 composition element.